Yes or no?
No.
One second, no? Yeah, even from Data Valley can provide support. I think it's saying only by host and co-host. Am I the host? Can you make me the host or yeah? Can you see me now? Can you see now?
No, we are not able to see your screen.
One second. One second, I'll just call. Just give me a minute.
You have dialed is currently busy. Please try later.
Yeah, anyone from Data Valley on this call? Yeah, anyone from Data Valley?
Yes, Vijender. This is Harsha. I'm here to assist you.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. It's saying only host or co-host can see it. It's saying your shared screen can only be seen by host and co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do one thing. I'll share this PPT in the chat. Can you open this?
Yeah.
I think there is some permission issue. I'll share this 1 second.
I think it's visible now.
Now we can able to see your screen.
Now you can see. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. So let's get going, folks. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's get going. Good evening, everyone. So today's topic is about you want to record it or something, or it's already being recorded, Data Valley?
The recording has been started already, so we can just proceed.
Okay, great. So today's topic is the 2025 AI landscape. What's next? Okay. What happened? Okay. So basically, we are going to talk about these 9 topics. Okay. I'm audible, right? Hello. Audible?
Yes, you are perfectly audible.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk about these 9 topics. Okay. Why AI matters in 2025. What are the major shifts happening right now? What are the key technologies defining 2025? What are the skills that freshers should build? And what are the emerging career paths in AI? What companies expect in 2025? How freshers can prepare, in a step-by-step manner? And what are the key mistakes to avoid? And yeah, the last one is, of course, the future is yours, and where we'll talk about the next steps and all that stuff. Okay. So the first thing is about why AI matters in 2025, right? Although I know we are almost nearing the completion of 2025, but it's still relevant for uh, for this year in terms of uh, how some key transformations have happened this year, and how some of you might have already been riding that wave, but if not, it's not too late, right? So AI is now a foundational skill and not a niche skill anymore, right? So maybe at the start of this year, AI was more like, it's nice to have, not need to have, or maybe even 2024 was nice to have, need to have, not need to have. But now it has become a foundational skill. Everybody needs to have AI in their skill set. They should know how to use it, how to leverage it, how to apply it in their day-to-day development effort, or incorporate it in building solutions also. Correct? So nearly every industry relies on AI-driven tools, right? So some of the things people say is that AI kind of replaces people and replaces jobs, correct? But it's not always necessary, right? Sometimes AI is used to improve productivity, correct? So yesterday I was in a meeting at Uber, right? They conducted a meeting for all Gen AI leaders in Hyderabad. And I attended that meeting and they built a tool called Buzz Assist. Sorry, Debug Assist. Okay. So Debug Assist is a tool they built basically using Gen AI, which helps them identify crash reports, right? So typically Uber, has mobile apps, it has web app and all that, right? So whenever there's a mobile app crash that happens, typically they take a lot of time for debugging because the developer will get it. And Uber is a big company. There are a lot of code files, a lot of modules. Somebody has written something, somebody else is, the person might have already left and all that. So it takes a lot of time to do debugging. And Uber cannot afford to have bad customer experience. So they built this tool, Debug Assist, which immediately tells the developer what to do, correct? So is the developer still needed? Yes, right? Is the developer losing the job? No, but a developer is able to do the job faster, correct? So that's how AI is transforming things, not necessarily for replacing humans, but also helping humans do the same things much faster. So whatever a typical debug could have taken like several days, will be done within minutes, right? That's the goal. So that's why it's important to understand how you can use AI to improve productivity. That's one. And also uh, get work done faster, right? So freshers entering the job market are expected to be AI aware and AI augmented, right? So you're supposed to know um, what are the various AI tools available, and you should also be able to use the tools for improving productivity, correct? So if you're coming and telling me that, a certain piece of work, like say I give you a React project, okay, and I tell you that you need to build the landing page, and I give you a design, and I tell you to build the landing page, and you tell me that it will take me 2 days. Okay. So immediately I will figure out that you're not a good developer. Okay. It's simple, straightforward. I don't even talk to you. I don't even interview you. I can say you're not a great developer because to me, it should be done in 3 hours, not more. Right. That's what we're talking about when you say AI aware and AI augmented. Because typically, if you give that image to Claude or ChatGPT, they will just generate the HTML and not HTML, the JSX code of React. You just copy paste it. As a developer, you're supposed to know where to copy paste it. That's pretty much only it, correct? Or if you're not copy pasting it, if you're using cursor, you need to know how to prompt it, right? And you need to know how to get the work done in the fastest time possible. Okay. Now, if you are one of those people who will say, no, no, I don't know all these tools, I'll take 2 days to do it because I have been doing like that for the past 3 years, then nobody needs you. Okay. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So, yeah. So yeah. So just a second. Huh? Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. That's how the work is happening. So even my developer who's on my team, when I give a requirement, he comes and says, I've been working on this since morning till around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Still, it's not happening. Then I don't take it kindly. Correct. I tell him maybe his prompts are not correct. Correct. That's how it is. Right. So you should know how to write the right prompts. You should know how to get work done. Right. That's what is the era we belong to right now. Okay. Um, then the next decade belongs to people who can work with AI, not just watch it. Okay. Um, if you have any questions, feel free to ask along the way. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Next thing is, what are the major shifts happening right now? Okay. So any questions, you can put it in the chat. Okay. I can also look at the chat. Where is this chat gone? Okay. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat too. Okay. Next thing is major shifts happening right now. AI models becoming agentic. Okay. They can plan, they can act, and they can take multi-step decisions. Okay. So this is something that AI models were able to answer questions, right? So can someone tell me when was ChatGPT launched? Put it in the chat. When was ChatGPT launched? Which year? Which month? Anyone? Can someone tell me? You can just put it on the chat if you cannot talk. Anyone? So make it a little bit interactive, okay, guys. I don't want to, yeah, just make it too boring. So it was launched in 2024, correct? November 2020. Sorry, 2022, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So ChatGPT was launched in November 2022, and since then, what has changed, right? So you just you ask a question, it still can answer, correct? So what does it mean by AI models becoming agentic, right? So the difference right now is they can plan, they can act, right, and they can take multi-step decisions. That is the difference. That's the agentic aspect of it, correct? So explosion of specialized AI models. Again, AI models are becoming more specialized. Earlier, they would just say, you ask a question, they used to give an answer, but now they can give specialized answer for specialized domains. Like in healthcare, you can ask a specific question, they can answer. In finance, they can answer, right? They're becoming very specialized for each domain, right? Because they'll have more context. Because a generic model like ChatGPT may not know everything of everything. Like it may not know health, it may not know finance in depth, correct? But now we are enabling them. Now, AI is moving from assistant to autonomous collaborator, correct? So AI is trying to do more things rather than just asking question. It can also figure out how to get a person specific piece of work done, right? Without you giving detailed instructions, correct? And rise of AI native startups in solving problems end to end, right? So what we are seeing nowadays is more startups which come up, which raise funding, right? Which kind of get funding are primarily based on whatever they're trying to solve in terms of problems using whatever problems they're solving using AI, right? So people don't want traditional way of solving problems. They want startups to solve problems using AI. Why? Because they feel that investors feel that solving problems using AI is going to bring that extra value to the table, correct? Traditionally, what people would do, that kind of approach, if you want to solve, approach use for solving problems is going to be very cumbersome. And just like the example I gave of how I expect my developer to use Claude to do the job in 3 hours rather than 2 days, right? So the best developer would have taken 2 days, right? I'm not kidding. The best developer in the world would take 2 days to do the same piece of work if I give a Figma, right? Which consists of multiple components and visuals and all that. But AI can do it within like if you're a really good developer, you can do it in 30 minutes. Okay. If you can give the right prompt, you can do it in 30 minutes. But again, if you're doing anywhere more than 4 hours, that's a red flag, right? So that's what we're talking about in terms of the shift that's happening. Okay. And all of you need to go with that wave or else you will be left out. Okay. So there's a saying that, AI will not steal your jobs. I don't know, some of you might have heard, but AI will not steal your jobs. Someone who knows AI will steal your jobs, right? That's the saying that everybody kind of says now, correct? So you should not be left behind. You should be kind of doing what it takes to upskill, correct? Next, what are the key technologies defining 2025? Again, if you have any questions along the way, please ask your questions, whatever they are. Okay, feel free to put it in the chat if you have any questions. Okay. Now, some of the key technologies defining 2025. Okay. So again, I would like you people to ask questions once in a while. Okay. So don't feel shy about asking or what others will think. Anyhow, there are less people who are in this meeting, so don't feel shy about asking. Okay. The key technologies which are defining 2025 are multimodal AI. Okay. So what is multimodal? I think sometimes you will hear this word called multimodal, where you say multimodal chats, multimodal agents, and all that. So multimodal basically means multiple modes of communicating with AI, right? So you can have text-based communication. So typically ChatGPT started with a single approved model, right? Mode called text. Okay. Then they introduced voice. So you can use voice also to talk to ChatGPT, correct? Then what came? Images. Now you can attach an image and ask a question, it'll tell you. Then came videos. You can attach a video and ask questions. So this is multimodal, like the ability to communicate multiple mediums of multiple media, right? So one is text, voice, images, and video. Okay. Agentic AI, basically, again, some of these are terms you should know because it's important to understand them. So agentic AI is basically AI that performs tasks independently. So you're saying that agentic concept itself is that you don't have to tell it exactly what to do. It can figure out and get it done. You just have to tell it what you want it to do. Okay. So that's important. Now, on-device AI, basically powerful models running on phones and laptops, right? So you have models, typically if you use OpenAI or ChatGPT, these are running on the cloud, correct? There are APIs which are running on the cloud. Even ChatGPT, when you use it, it's running somewhere in the cloud, correct? You're not running it on your system, correct? So can someone tell me what's the issue in running these models on the phones and laptops? Can someone tell me? If I were to run these models, right? Because to me, it looks interesting, right? To run on the phone or laptop. But what is the catch? Can someone tell me? Yeah, I'll say. So the catch is that if they are running on your laptops or phone, they will be very slow, right? Your phone and laptop cannot support these big models, right? Some of them are $175 billion, 175 billion parameters. And if you're trying to run on your system, if it's not a GPU on your system, it can run very slow. So that's why you cannot run these on the phones or laptops. AI integrated coding, again, all of you might have heard of GitHub Copilot, GitHub, right? And then Cursor. So Cursor recently raised up $2.7 billion or something, right? So it's just an ID. It has all these models in it. And Cursor is used for developing, writing code fast. So real-time voice and emotional AI is another thing that is coming up in a big way. People want to talk to AI in real time and it should be able to respond back in real time, right? And emotional AI is also one of the topic. So in an emotional AI, we are saying that AI should be able to not just respond, but also able to understand the emotions, right? So if you say, why did you do this versus why did you do this, right? There is a difference, correct? Now, if you asked ChatGPT on text saying, why did you do this, right? It might just understand it the same irrespective of the tone, correct? But if it's voice, correct? There's a difference between saying, why did you do this and why did you do this, right? So there's a difference in emotion, difference in emphasis of the words, and AI is supposed to understand that and respond accordingly, correct? It should be able to understand is someone talking in a general tone or is it in there in a angry tone or a frustrated tone or a sad tone or a happy tone, right? That's important. And those are the key things that are coming up AI that's the kind of the areas where research is happening to make AI as natural as possible. So yeah. So next thing is skills freshers should build. Okay. So some of the skills that freshers must build are prompting plus AI tool usage, right? So like I said, when I was working at High Radius, we got an enterprise license for Copilot, correct? And of course, that was a couple of years ago, 2023, right? But a lot of people were not actively using it. They were in fact hesitant to use it. Okay. So they still wanted to do traditional way of going to Google, going to Stack Overflow and all that. But now people are expected to use prompting, people are expected to use IDs with AI agents embedded in them, right? That is the new norm. That is what is expected now, right? In fact, companies like Microsoft, Salesforce, they're actually monitoring how many people are actually using these Copilot tools for writing code. How much of the code is being written by AI? How much of the code is being written manually, right? Organizations are tracking this. So it's important for all of you to understand how it is used and be conversant with these tools. So data and ML foundations, again, you have, these are the skills that are important. from the basics perspective, right? So you need to be good at Python, data cleaning, machine learning basics, and all that, right? So AI augmented coding skills. So again, this is something that I have been talking about, in terms of how you write the same code which is augmented by AI. Okay. Now, what are the skills that freshers must build? Again, agents, understanding how LLMs are called through APIs, and also understanding how workflow automation happens. Okay. So workflow automation is basically like you have a specific, um, you know, approach towards how you want to link the various parts of the application. How are you going to get the data? How are you going to do pre-processing? How are you going to pass it to LLM? How do you going to write business logic to accomplish a certain task? And how are you going to close the loop? How are you going to send out an email or something like that? Okay. So that's how you build the end-to-end flows. And all of this is made possible using APIs and again, all that. So the portfolio, mindset is extremely important for freshers, more so, right? You must think that projects are greater than marks. Okay, it's not just important to say I need to get so many marks, or I got 9.3 GPA or CGPI or whatever you call it. That's not important anymore. What's important is, do you have good projects on your resume, right? That's what matters more. So any questions still here? Anyone? We can take some questions if you have. Anybody have any questions?
No from my side.
Great. Okay, let's go ahead. So next thing is, what are the emerging career paths in AIs? All right. So again, from a 2025 perspective, if you look at it, we are looking at the AI ML engineer, right? From a career standpoint, the data analyst, data scientist kind of a role, right? AI product engineer, AI research assistant, AI prompt engineer, right? Voice AI engineer, Gen AI application developer, AI ops, automation engineer. So there are different kinds of career paths, right, which are there. Now, in most startups, you really don't differentiate between all of these, right? One person can be doing all of them also, right? But in larger organizations, if you see like Splunk or maybe Microsoft or Uber, you'll have specific roles for specific work, right? So why do they need that? Because the scale at which they do work is very huge, right? So typically, to give an example, today, I think I was talking to a startup founder called FamPay. They do millions of transactions in a day. So at that scale, if you are telling me that you have a small problem with respect to how you handle the request per second, right? That's a big problem by itself that will require a couple of engineers to work on. So how do you scale the servers? How do you increase the servers? Okay. So how do you increase the servers, and how do you manage the entire requests that are coming in is a problem by itself. Okay. So for you, if you are thinking about what is the career path you should take, right? Broadly, the way I look at it, AI ML engineer is one big track, right? Data analyst is a separate track. Data engineer is a separate track, right? Because AI prompt engineer will come in AI engineer, AI research assistant will come in AI engineer, voice AI engineer will come in AI engineer, right? Again, AI ops or ML ops is a separate track, right? So typically these can be clubbed into three or four roles. One is AI engineer, second is data analyst or data scientist, third is your Gen AI application developer. Again, that is slightly different. And then finally, it is ML ops. Okay. So any questions here? Any questions still here? Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. What companies expect in 2025, correct? So companies expect you to use AI as part of your work, right? You should have a clear understanding of the data and not just model building, okay? So the ability to build small but working AI projects, that's important, right? Yeah. Comfortable with rapid tools like LangChain, Llama Index, Verto, etc. A mindset of speed, experimentation, and adaptability. Correct. So why do companies expect these, right? Because of what I mentioned, that the kind of problems that we are solving using AI is advancing, right? Earlier, if you could make an LLM call and build a small basic application, it was great. But now it's getting more advanced, correct? That is over. Because you don't want to always call LLMs, right? Because that can get expensive. So suppose you have a problem statement, right? You don't want to say, suppose let's take an example, okay? What is the example we can take? So let's take an example where we are getting a lot of requests and there was a caching layer problem at Uber. Let's take the problem at Uber itself, okay? Now, Uber gets a lot of requests, right? Let's say Uber Eats more specifically. So what kind of requests can Uber Eats get? Uber Eats can get requests like, hey, my order item is missing. Okay. So the food was received, but it was spoiled. Okay. Or misplaced items. I ordered something, but something else came, right? So these are some of the common questions which come from users, right? If you are building a chatbot for Uber, right? Now, what do you typically do, right? This is their natural language processing questions, NLP questions, right? In English. Now, suppose I asked in English, but somebody else can ask in Telugu or Hindi or whatever, right? So the chatbot should understand it, correct? Now, the point is to understand that, what do? You take these questions and pass it to LLM, right? You pass it to API, and the API is going to respond back saying that, okay, the user is asking for misplaced item. So respond like this, okay? Because the LLM is providing the RAG context. I don't know how many of you know RAG, retrieval augmented generation. It can say that, based on the data in the RAG vector database, this is what you should respond, saying that, okay, sorry, the item was misplaced, we will process a refund for you, correct? So that can be the response from the LLM. But the problem with this approach, it works, is Uber does not have 100 users, right? Or even 1,000 users. Uber has millions of users, okay? So every time you hit a LLM, it costs money, correct? Because LLM is not free. LLM will charge for input tokens and output tokens. So every time these millions of users are asking, so let's say, 1,000th of a rupee it takes, correct? So for every question, so for million, it's 1,000 rupees, correct? Now, these requests again will come throughout the day. So imagine if you're using just an LLM call every time you're making a hit, it's going to be very costly for you, right? So you don't want to do that, right? So what companies are looking at nowadays is, hey, why don't you introduce a caching, right? Right? Introduce a caching on the request layer. So whenever the request is coming saying, hey, my item has been misplaced or my item is missing, you check your cache first and see if that similar request has come from some other user before. And what was the response to that particular question? Correct? So if you already have the answer, you don't need to go to an LLM. Correct? So you're saving on costs. Correct? You're saving on that extra query that is going to an LLM straight off the bat. Right? So what companies are expecting in 2025 is not that you can hit an LLM call and do that, because that was already done by somebody else before, right? Or if somebody is not yet started, but they are planning to do it or starting to build that application, they're expecting you to give suggestions like caching, right? Give suggestions, give solutions where you talk about how you can build the applications where you're not only achieving the business goal, but also optimizing the cost, improving this performance, and a whole lot of other things, right? So that is what organizations are expecting. You need to be hands-on, do a lot of work, and then be helping organizations grow much faster, correct? So you need to have a mindset of speed, experimentation, and adaptability, right? That's extremely important because AI is moving very fast, okay? Like I said, today, if you are telling me that you will take multiple hours for what should be taking 30 minutes, then it's not done, right? Just not done. You have to do it fast. You have to learn how to do it fast. And that comes with practice. Okay. So just to give an example, a developer on my team, I gave him a task which was to build deep links in the web app, right? A deep link in a web app is basically you say datavalley.com slash 1234, correct? So say datavalley.com slash articles slash 1234. That 1234 is the deep link for that particular article, correct? So if I have a bookmark, I can immediately access that particular page, right? Now, that was a requirement which I gave my developer for a React code. And when I gave him the requirement, we started at 10 o'clock, right, in the morning. And typically, I expected it to be done within like 1 hour, right? But because he's a fresher, pretty much 2025 graduate, he is, right? And I gave him, I said, okay, fine, let him take 2 hours. That's fine, right? So what started at 10 o'clock, at around 3 o'clock, I think at 4 o'clock, like, I just got busy with other things. I just check, is it done or, what's happening? So he said that he's still doing it, right? And he's stuck somewhere and he's just working on that. So what I told him is, spend another 15 minutes. If you can solve it, fine. Otherwise, you let me know. I'll help. So he took another 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, he said, hands up, right? He's not able to solve it. So then what I did is I didn't even open the code. I just gave him on WhatsApp some prompts and he executed the prompt in Claude and then he ran it. And in 15 minutes, 15 minutes, it was done. Okay. The requirement was done, deployed, and it was working. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, right? In terms of speed, experimentation, and adaptability. So you have to be doing things faster. Okay. It's not about doing things. You should also be able to do things fast. Okay. That's extremely important in today's world. Productivity using AI tools extremely important. That's why my companies like Microsoft, Salesforce, they are monitoring. They are saying, if you're not using AI, then you are not giving me the value for the money I am spending on you. Okay. So yes, will there be less requirement for developers? Yes, but existing developers will not go, right? Existing developers might not go, but the number of new developers we require will be less. But again, if you are one of them who is able to do all this, and when a hiring happens, you are the first person who's preferred, correct? So that's why it's important to be aware and do projects in this space. Any questions clear? Okay. Now, how freshers can prepare, right? What is the approach? Now, typically what we see is there is a lot of material out there. There are a lot of articles out there. People keep posting LinkedIn articles saying this is the roadmap, that is the roadmap, and everybody wants to publish their own roadmaps, right? Now, so different people publish these roadmaps from their perspective of their own geographies sometimes. So someone in the US says this is the roadmap for a 2025 engineer, right? Somebody else in India might say something else, somebody in Europe might say something else. So different people have their own perspectives, and some of them, nobody knows if it is the right thing also, correct? So that's why it's important to understand what are your career goals first, right? That's the most important thing before you even look at my roadmap, right? How, in terms of how I'm suggesting, you should be clear about what do you want to do. Okay. I'm sure some of you have joined this meeting, to learn something about how AI is happening and what are the next steps to expect in AI in 2025. That is a topic. Now, that is information, right? But if you want to identify a roadmap for you, the first step should be, what do you want to do, right? What really interests you, okay? Because trust me, although you have ChatGPT, although you have Claude and all these tools, if you are feeling that I can just use them to kind of build a career in any space, it is not correct, okay? So all of these tools are helpful to support you to do what you want to do, right? But if you're not deep down interested in that, you cannot succeed there. Okay, so you have to be interested, you have to be connected with what those tools are giving, but you should be passionate about what you do. You should build projects about what you love doing, correct? So that's the first step. Identify what you really like doing, correct? Are you someone who likes to work on AI applications using images? Are you someone who likes to do AI applications using voice? Are you someone who likes to do deployments, right? That is ML ops. Are you someone who just likes to do data analysis, right? That's it. Data analysis, that's a data analyst. Are you someone who likes to build data pipelines, correct? So basically you have multiple systems, ETL, and all that kind of stuff. So data engineer. So different roles have different work, and you should be, first of all, clear about that before you take a plunge. Okay, that's very important. But having said that, I'll go through the points. Learn Python plus basics of ML. That's definitely required for most people in this space. So basics of ML again might not be required if you're a pure play data analyst or a pure play data engineer. Correct. So machine learning is again required for those who want to build models, who want to train models, and want to do, again, deploy models also. They need to know the basics of ML. And those who want to do again the other stuff like data pre-processing and all, they also need to understand a high level what is required, what is that ML. But they will be expected to be, they are expected to be told by the data scientists in terms of what data should come and all that, right? So then they work on that. But Python is something that all of you have learned. Okay. Next, build a 2 to 3 Gen AI or agent projects. So if you are serious about this space, you should build some projects in Gen AI and agent projects. They're not very hard to build. You can just find out. I think Data Valley has some courses or programs where you can learn how to build these, and you should be able to build these easily. It's just about guidance in terms of what kind of projects you have to build, right? So that I think Data Valley team can help you with that. So upload everything to GitHub. Okay. So whatever projects you're building, keep uploading them to GitHub so that you can showcase to somebody. Correct. So it's extremely important that you showcase your work. There's no point in just putting it on your local host, right? Because how will people know? Right. I see a lot of people who say that they have done 10 projects, but when I say, can you show something? They don't have anything to show. So as an interviewer, the next thing I think about is maybe they're bluffing. Okay. Build your LinkedIn plus resume around AI impact. So always important, all of you should be on LinkedIn and start showcasing your work. So why I'm telling you, recently there was a company which was looking for some interesting talent in AI. And I immediately referred somebody who was doing regular posts in AI, right? Some projects he was building. I also don't know much about what projects they are. But what is interesting and what struck me was that that person is trying to do something, correct? So again, I'm not saying that person is a great resource, but he's definitely standing out from the other people who are sitting and just sending resumes to everyone to get a job, right? Do something, build something, and keep showcasing it. That's important. Okay. Contribute to open source or community projects. That's extremely important. If you have time, contributing to open source projects is the best way to learn, because you will learn about the entire ecosystem of how to build projects and deploy them, and how to raise pull requests, how your code goes into production, correct? And more often than not, you don't have to build very complex requirements and implement complex requirements in these, right? Some of these requirements can be even as simple as how do you just change correct the spellings in a documentation. That also is community open source projects. So that ways you learn how Git works, how GitHub works, how do you raise a pull request, how does it get merged, what is the entire process of that open source contribution. That's very important. And the other thing about open source contribution or community projects is that you also get visibility, correct? So just to say an example, I referred one person for a role. He actually cleared the first round. Also, he's in the second round now. Simply because he worked with me on a community project. Okay, very simple. And through that, I got to know how he works, and simple. I just referred him. That's it, right? So that's important. So stay updated with AI trends. Again, this is at a high level, but it's important to be aware of what is going on, right? If you're saying that there is Nano Banana and somebody says, why don't you use Nano Banana API? And if you say you don't know it, then it's a concern, right? You should know what is Nano Banana, what does it do, and all that. So, any questions still here? Yeah. So, next thing is, what are the mistakes to avoid, right? So one thing I'm seeing is people only watch tutorials, right? A lot of people just collect tutorials and watch tutorials. They really don't build anything, right? So it's a big mistake, what I see. People should start building something from the tutorials. Even if it is small applications, build something. That's extremely important. Okay. People only focus on models and ignore problem solving. Okay. So that's another important thing. One of the things is, in today's world, people don't care about coding anymore, right? Because the chat GPTs and the Claudes of the world can do that for you, correct? Uh, People really don't need people to say, hey, I know coding, I can write code. That they can do. Chat GPT can do, Claude also can do. What I think is necessary today is your ability to solve problems, right? How are you able to solve specific problems, right? That's important, because ChatGPT and Claude cannot solve problems entirely. They can to some extent, but they cannot entirely solve. So that's where humans are required to solve problems, but take the help of ChatGPT or Claude to get the problem solved faster. So some of the other mistakes people make is no online presence. Okay, so they think that if they are doing some coursework, signed up for some project work somewhere, and submitting all the assignments, and that's it, right? That's not going to help, right? That's not really going to help, because if you don't have anything to showcase online, then it's a big red flag, right? Because GitHub, if you don't, if I mean, people don't even care about GitHub nowadays because it'll have some random projects. People should have deployed projects, show something that I can see, correct? So if you don't have even that online presence, not even a GitHub repo, then it's definitely like, I'm like, no way I'm considering. So bare minimum, have a GitHub repo, correct? And it should have some projects in it. Okay. Next thing is ignoring fundamentals, right? Like math and data handling. So other thing I see is people just want to build models, right? Or somewhere you read about someone talking about some kind of transformer architecture, right? So suddenly they see something, their friend is learning something. They just want to pick that up and do all that without laying emphasis on the basics. Okay. So if you are not focusing on the fundamentals, but focusing only on saying, I just want to do Gen AI, I just want to do agentic AI, it's nothing wrong about it, right? You can directly jump to agentic AI and build agentic AI applications without understanding anything about mathematics. Okay. But that is only till the point where you are pure play doing only agentic AI applications or Gen AI applications. Right? So suppose I put you into a different project, right? And then you say, hey, I don't know how to use pandas. I don't know how to use NumPy. I don't know how to use data handling. I don't know how to do data pre-processing. Then it becomes tricky. How do I make you productive? How do I get value out of you? Correct? So you don't want to be that person. That's when companies fire people who don't fit the bill, right? So then companies say, can you adapt? Can you pick up those skills and get to speed quickly? Because like I said before, I'm not looking at someone who's sitting on my payroll and just sitting and watching my face, right? They should do work. So if you're able to upskill fast, that's great, right? You are still employable. But if you come and say, you know what, I need someone to train me and teach me, then that's not going to work. And the other thing is also, sometimes organizations don't have so much of time to spare for training you, right? Organizations don't have so much time. So you must know it beforehand. So before you join the organization, you must know multiple things. You must know math, you must know mathematics, you must know how to do data handling, data pre-processing, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Correct? So these are some non-negotiables, right? People think that it's okay, I don't need to know, but you should. You should also know the basics of coding as well, right? That's another mistake that people do. People think that just because I can do white coding, or just because I can just copy paste code from from Claude, right? It works. The thing about that is it works until a certain point, right? So there was a project which we had to which we got, and along the way we had to scrap that project, right? Because the developers on my team got stuck because ChatGPT and Claude could not help them solve the bugs, right? So building the project till 70% or 80% is easy, it works. But the remaining 20%, when you get bugs and you don't know what is going on in the code, it becomes very tough for you to handle those situations. So despite having 4 interns, so back then we had interns, we could not solve that project, we could not complete that project, we just had to let that project go. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, because it's important for the interns or developers to know what code is coming out of ChatGPT or Claude. And when you're copy pasting it, you also should be clear about what you are copy pasting. Okay. So it's extremely important that you should know the fundamentals of coding as well, right? You should know. Why is it important? Because you should know what code it is writing. Sometimes Claude and ChatGPT give boilerplate code, right? What is boilerplate code? They give the same code again and again, which you copy paste without knowing, correct? So then maintainability becomes a problem, correct? So suppose you are having a menu bar in the React application at the top, correct? And you have 10 pages. The typical optimized way would be have it in one particular component and then use that component in all the 10 pages, correct? Or remaining 9 pages. But ChatGPT or Claude may not know the context and it might give the same code for all the 10 pages, correct? Now that's not efficient. If you have to change that menu, you want to add something in that or modify that, then you have to change it in all the 10 pages, correct? Or 10 JSX files, 10 JSX components, which is not efficient, right? Now, the point is a good developer will come and say, I want to convert this menu into a separate component so that that component can be reused across several other components. So that's when ChatGPT or Claude can give you more efficient code. But who asks that question? The developer has to ask that question, because the developer has the knowledge that React works on the basis of components. And if I ask the specific question, then it gives a specific answer, right? So that is the value that a good developer brings to the table, right? It's modular code by using AI, by knowing the fundamentals. So that's extremely important. If you just give some a general prompt like, I want a page with the menu, then it will give you boilerplate code. Okay. So that's important to use the right prompts to get the work done in the right manner. Okay. So that's important. Next thing is the other mistake that again people make is waiting for the perfect project. Okay. So people, when they look at some of these, they join some courses or whatever, look at YouTube videos, they see like 20-25 projects they prepare a big list of them. And then they start thinking, somebody should tell me what to start. Or once I get to know which project is a really good project, then they will start, right? They don't start anything because they feel that they're still not ready to start their project for whatever reasons. Either their schools have their college exams are going on, or they have some internal work or some personal work, whatever, right? They just keep delaying it, hoping that one fine day they'll start, right? So the important thing is just start, right? I mean, you don't have to complete the project on that day. It can take a few days. It can take a few months. That's okay. Start somewhere, keep moving it, right? And keep learning along the way. That's important, and that sets the momentum. Okay. So the most important thing, like I said before, you need to work on building these projects hands-on, right? You should have that hands-on experience. So any questions still here before I move on to the last slide, which is the future is yours? Anybody has any questions? Anything you want to ask? Yeah. Okay. So the future is yours. Okay. So AI has made drastic changes in terms of how we are delivering value, right? And how the role has changed, the developer's role has changed, and how all of us are in a new world, how all of us are having to adapt to survive in this new world. But the point is also it gives that opportunities for you to kind of explore and make yourself valuable, right? The important thing is, again, how you kind of see the opportunities and tap into them, because everybody is not going to tell you what to do. You have to see where are the opportunities. You have to be conscious about where the opportunities are and tap into them and make it happen, right? That's how it is. So like I already said before, AI is not going to take your jobs. Somebody who knows AI might take your job if you don't know AI. So that's how that somebody who knows AI is someone who becomes more valuable, right? In any kind of a job role, right? Going forward. So it's important that you are ahead of the game, you are conversant about how it works, and stay ahead of the game, right? Second point is again, first point, AI will reshape every role. Okay, take it from me. Every role on the planet is going to be impacted by AI in some way or other, right? So you need to, the humans who understand AI will lead the future. That's how it is, right? So all of you need to be understanding what is your role, how AI can impact it, and do what it takes to understand it. Start small, but build consistently. Stay curious, right? So you don't have to build a big chatbot on day one, right? You don't have to build a RAG chatbot on day one. Just build a small chatbot, simple streamlit application, which just calls an LLM API and converse with it. That's fine. Start from there. Then see what do I need to do to build a vector database, and how do you interact with it and all that stuff gradually. Okay, but keep building consistently, right? So the next thing is again, your college years are your launchpad into the AI decade, right? So when you are in college, they are your golden years because you are still young and your mind, you don't have pressure, you're not bound by what to do next as an immediate thing. So you're free to explore, ideate, and connect with industry experts, and also again, that's a great time for you to build that base. Right now, I know some of you might have graduated as well, right? And you're trying to explore in the space. It's a great time to kind of build something amazing because nothing is stopping you from doing amazing things if you are interested, right? Because it becomes very easy to learn new things using AI nowadays, right? So you should have the curiosity to build and innovate and do something new, and that's where your value comes. Okay, so that's why I put in the slides name as the future is yours. Okay, so yeah, so pretty much that's it. I think we're at 7:30. So if you have any questions, we can take some questions, or I think we can call it a day. Any questions, anyone? Okay, I think that's it then. Thanks, Data Valley team. We're closing it for the day. Okay. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Kishore. Thanks, Mamsi Krishna.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining and thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.